Good morning, students. This is the third class of chapter 3, Laws of Motion, and in our previous class we have studied about Newton's first law of motion. Now in this class we are going to learn about the linear momentum and the second law of motion. Okay, the derivation of the mathematical form of the Newton's second law of motion, examples of Newton's second law of motion, and some numericals which are based on the mathematical formula of the Newton's second law of motion. Actually, the concept of linear momentum is extremely important in physics. Whenever we examine a moving object, we must consider both its mass and velocity, because the quantity of motion possessed by the body depends upon these two factors only. Okay, so let us go through the following examples. As we know that Newton's first law of motion states that the presence of an unbalanced force will accelerate an object, changing its speed, its direction, or both its speed and its direction. So how do we calculate this force? And what is the relationship between net force and the acceleration? So let's see real life events to find its answers. Okay, suppose a table tennis ball hit a player, but the player not badly hurt. Why so? On the other hand, cricketers have special gears to protect themselves from injuries from fast cricket ball. What is the reason behind that? Why? What is the difference between these two balls? The reason is that because cricket ball is heavier than table tennis ball, so that we can conclude the impact of an object is dependent on the mass of that object. On the other hand, a bullet is much smaller than a cricket ball, but it can kill a person when fired from a gun. How can such a small bullet be so lethal? Because the bullet is traveling with the enormous velocity towards its target. So, from these observations suggest that impact of an object is dependent on the mass of the body of the object and the velocity of that object. Clear? So, these observations were used by Newton to introduce a property called the momentum. So, the momentum P of an object is defined as the product of its mass m and its velocity v. So, here we can find the formula of momentum. P is equal to m into v. Momentum is a vector quantity because it has the magnitude as well as the direction. Clear? And the unit of the momentum will be, in SI system, it will be kilogram meter per second. Clear? So the application of an unbalanced force brings about a change in the velocity of the object. This is all about the momentum. An unbalanced force also produces a change of momentum. Actually, Newton's first law of motion gives us the quantitative definition of force, but Newton's second law of motion gives us a method of measuring force. So now we will see Newton's second law of motion. Newton's second law of motion is the relationship between a force acting on a body, its mass, and the acceleration produced in the body by this force. Okay. So Newton's second law of motion defined as the force acting on a body is directly proportional to the product of the mass of the body and the acceleration produced in the body by the force. The force acts in the direction of the acceleration. So, by this statement, we can write in a mathematical manner, F is directly proportional to the product of the mass and the acceleration of the body. So, the mathematical expression of the Newton's second law of motion is F is directly proportional to m into A. Clear? So, this is the statement of the Newton's second law of motion. Now we will see the alternative method of the derivation of Newton's second law of motion, that is F is equal to m into A, where F is the force, m is the mass and A is the acceleration. Okay, so as we have seen in the previous section that when the force is applied on a body, its velocity changes. So we can say that the force applied on a body produced an acceleration in it. So the acceleration produced may be positive or negative. So experimentally, it has been found that the acceleration produced in a body directly proportional to the force applied on it if the mass remains constant. So here we can write acceleration A is directly proportional to the force applied on that body F. This will be the equation first. Okay, and it is also been found that the acceleration produced in a body is inversely proportional to the mass of the body. So from this statement we can write acceleration in a body A is inversely proportional to the mass of the body. So A is proportional to 1 upon mass of the body, that is m. This equation will be equation 2. So by combining the equation 1 and 2, we can get this equation, that is A is equal to force upon mass. Clear? So by changing their places, we can write force is directly proportional to the acceleration is multiplied with the mass of the body. And here it will be F is directly proportional to m into A. Clear? So by removing that the sign of that proportional, we have to put a constant and we'll take this constant as k. So our next equation will be, or the next step will be, F is equal to k m A. Okay, where F is the mass, F is the force, m is the mass, A is the acceleration and k is the constant. Clear? So suppose if F is equal to 1 unit of force, clear, m is equal to 1 unit of mass and A is 1 unit of acceleration. So our last equation will be F is equal to m into A. Here it will be force is equal to mass into acceleration, and this is the mathematical form of the Newton's second law of motion. Clear? And this formula is very important in many of the numericals. Clear? So this you have to remember, this derivation and that formula is very important, and the process to derive this formula is very easy, so you can do this easily. Just we have seen the alternative method to find the mathematical relationship or the mathematical expression for the Newton's second law of motion. Now we will see Newton's second law of motion in the terms of rate of change of momentum with the time. Okay, so to prove this or to derive this, let a body of mass m be initially moving with a velocity v. Okay, so its linear momentum, by the formula, the linear momentum will be p is equal to m into v. because linear momentum of a body is the product of its mass and velocity. Okay, suppose now force is applied on the body for a time interval del t. Here del, that means del is showing the change. Okay, so body for a time interval del t, due to which the velocity of the body changes by del v. Del v, that means the change in velocity, and momentum changes by del p. So the change of momentum will be del p is equal to del m into v. Clear by the formula. So del p is equal to del, or we can write del p is equal to m del v. But in majority of real situations, the mass of an object does not change. So in this condition, the rate of change of momentum will be del p upon del t is equal to m del v upon del t. Clear? So from this equation, or we can write del p upon del t is equal to m. We can write del v as the change in velocity, and the change in velocity is v minus u. That means the final velocity minus initial velocity, and del t will be same. Okay, so from this step we can write the next step. Del p upon del t is equal to m v minus u upon t. How it comes? Because there is no change in time here. Okay, so del p upon del t will be m into a. M into a, that means the product of mass and acceleration, because we know that v minus u upon t is the formula of acceleration. So at the place of this term we can write a. So m will be at the same place, but here a will come. Clear? And this will be equation first. Del p upon del t is equal to m into a. This will be this equation first. Okay. Now we have seen that the Newton's second law of motion is F is equal to m into a. This will be the second equation. So by equation 1 and 2 we can write F is equal to del p upon del t is equal to m into a. These three will be equal. Clear? So from here, in the terms of rate of change of momentum with time, we can write force is equal to change in the momentum upon change in the time of interval. Thus, Newton's second law of motion can be stated in the terms of rate of change of momentum as follow, that the rate of change of momentum of a body is directly proportional to the net external force applied on it, and the change in momentum takes place in the direction in which the force is applied. This statement is very important, and this derivation is also very important. You have to differentiate between both the expression, or both the mathematical expression of Newton's second law of motion. First one is the relationship of between the force, mass and acceleration, and second mathematical expression of Newton's second law of motion is in the terms of rate of change of momentum with the time, which is F is equal to del p upon del t. Clear? Now we will see the examples of Newton's second law of motion. Our first example of the second law of motion is a karate player breaks a pile of tiles or a slab of ice in a single blow. Okay, why so? The reason is that when a karate player breaks a pile of tiles in a single blow by moving his or her hand very fast, by doing this he or she increases the rate of change of momentum. In doing so, the entire momentum of the hand is reduced to zero in very short time of interval. Clear? In other words, the rate of change of momentum is large. According to the second law of motion, the resultant force delivered on the pile of the tiles is large enough to break it in a single blow. That is why a karate player is able to break a pile of tiles or a slab of ice in a single blow. You can see in this diagram. Clear? Now our second example can be an athlete performing in high jump are made to fall either on a cushion bed or on a sandbag. Okay, so the reason behind that, in a high jump athletic events, the athletes are made to fall either on a cushion bed or on a sandbed to decrease the rate of change of momentum by increasing the time. Clear? While jumping from a height on a heap of sand, athletes' feet move inside the sand slowly. The entire momentum of the body is reduced to zero in a long time interval. In other words, the rate of change of momentum is small here. So the impact of the reaction force is small, hence the athlete is not injured. Clear? Our next example can be car passengers are advised to wear seat belts. Why they are advised to wear seat belt? During a car accident, the car stopped suddenly. The seat belts worn by the passenger of the car prevent the passenger to fall forward suddenly. It enables the entire momentum of the passenger to reduce to zero in a long interval time. Or in other words, the rate of change of momentum is small. So the impact force is small, hence it prevents injury. You can see here, those who are not wearing that seat belts, they can injure, and those passengers who are wearing that seat belts, they can prevent the injury. So these all are the examples of Newton's second law of motion. You can take another examples of these law of motion in your daily life. Clear? Now we will see the numericals which are based on the Newton's second law of motion. Our first numerical is, what is the acceleration produced by a force of 12 Newton exerted on an object of mass 3 kg. That means here we have to find the acceleration A, and the force is given and the mass is given. So in the solution, first we will write all the values which are given in the question. Force F is equal to 12 Newton, mass m is equal to 3 kg, and acceleration A is to be calculated. Okay, so as we know that we can use the formula F is equal to m into A. So directly we will put the given values in the formula. So from putting the values in this formula, we can get the value of the acceleration 12 Newton upon 3 kg, and by converting the units, we can get the answer, or we can get the acceleration which is produced in the object is 4 meter per second square. Clear? Our next example is, what force would be needed to produce an acceleration of 4 meter per second square on a ball of mass 6 kg? Clear? That means here acceleration is given, mass is given, and we have to find the force which is needed to produce an acceleration. Clear? So first we will write all the values, acceleration, mass. Clear? And by using the same formula, F is equal to m into A, here we will put the given values, and by putting the values, we got the answer of, or we got the value of force, and the value of the force is 24 Newton. So here we can say that a force of 24 Newton is required to produce an acceleration of 4 meter per second square on a ball of mass 6 kg. Clear? Now our third example is, calculate the momentum of a toy car weighing 200 gram and moving with a velocity of 5 meter per second. Clear? Here we have to find the momentum, and the mass is given in gram and the velocity is given. Clear? So first we will write the values which are given in the question. Mass of a toy car M is equal to 200 gram, and after converting it into kilogram, we'll got the value of the mass is 0.2 kilogram. Now the velocity of the toy car V is equal to 5 meter per second. Now we have to find the value of the momentum P. So as we know that momentum, the formula of the momentum is P is equal to m into v. As we know that momentum is the product of mass and its velocity. So in this formula we have to put the given values. P is equal to, what is the value of mass? It is 0.2 kilogram. And what is the value of the velocity? It is 5 meter per second. So from here we got the value of the momentum P, and this value is 1 kilogram meter per second. So the momentum of the given toy car is 1 kilogram meter per second. Clear? So in that way you can find or you can solve the numericals which are based on the Newton's second law of motion and the momentum. Clear?